But who is the person who identifies for him that he could be better? It's not himself. It's Blackbeard. Blackbeard is the one who says at the end of season 1, I want you on my crew. Those other idiots, I'm marooning them. But you're going to stay here with me. I didn't realize that until you were saying that, and obviously it was a very dark time, right? That Kraken era was not good. I'm not saying that was good development for him, but it's very interesting that the person who puts him on that path.
Today, we are talking about one of our favorite characters, the ever beautiful, the ever mysterious Frenchie. It's a Frenchie! So on the podcast with me this week is Andrea, a lover of whimsical singers and scams. Say hello, Andrea.
Hello.
And we have Chloe, a Captain Frenchie apologist.
Chloe.
Hello.
Chloe, you're always simping for problematic men.
Why is Frenchie problematic?
He is a captain when Zhang should be captain. The qualified woman should be the captain.
I have a reason why not. I will get there.
Okay, I will listen.
I promise. We will talk about this. And then finally we have Carly, who you've already heard from. And I believe that men should be rarely seen and certainly not heard, and definitely not captaining anything.
The men on the show have proven that they should not be captain of anything ever.
I so want to respond to this, but we're like jumping right into the Captain Frenchie controversy, even though that's like at the end of the outline. So I will hold my peace for now.
I promise. And it's me, Belle, bringing the horny 24/7, as is my right. Let's kick things off the way we always do. What is the most gay pirate thing that has happened to you lately?
So I'm sporting a really nasty pirate scar now because my cat sent me to the ER. Basically, I was outside on the porch feeding my squirrel, talking to my squirrel, and my cat came outside and I was like, Beans, you clearly have murder in your eyes. You are going to go in the house like a good kitty. His little eyeballs turned black and he growled at me. I thought, well, I'll pick you up anyway, even though you're clearly telling me no. So when I went to pick him up, he spun around, clawed my face. Instantly, I'm shooting blood everywhere. And I call an Uber and go to the ER. And yeah, my beloved cat, he did that to me.
Well, you know who would have told you that cats are dangerous?
Frenchie would have.
Yes,
and that's one of the Frenchie episodes.
Exactly, most relevant Frenchie episode stories ever. Chloe, what about you?
So I was in the grocery store the other day, and you know how we have in the fandom like the David Jenkins School of X, David Jenkins School of Historical Accuracy or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm in the grocery store and I see someone with a shirt that says like David Jenkins School of, and I can't see like what school it's of. But I'm like, oh my God, David Jenkins School of something shirt. I'm about to go up to this person and become best friends when I realize the shirt is Johns Hopkins School of Medicine.
I love it.
So that's when you know the brain rot is just so deep, so deep.
And also you need new glasses, clearly.
And apparently I need new glasses. My brain saw what it really wanted to see. Luckily, I saved face in time before I lost all the hinges and realized it was a normal shirt.
We need to write a sitcom where John Hopkins, is that his name? Johns Hopkins? Hopkins is just a mess of a doctor. And then he starts his own school of medicine. And it's directed by Taika Waititi.
Exactly. Precisely.
He's a gentleman doctor.
There you go.
And he has a leather-clad doctor who's like a rival doctor in another hospital. And this is the AU that you guys write.
So by the way, Chloe, something similar happened to me in London on the way to the airport. I saw somebody with a shirt and I couldn't tell if it was the Izzy as Ziggy Stardust or if it was Ziggy Stardust. And I was like, I don't know what I need to do. So I kept staring at her full chest, trying to figure out, like, I'm looking like a creep. I'm just going to let it go.
I mean, you were there for the con. It very well could have been an Izzy shirt.
My gay pirate thing that happened this week and actually today is very reminiscent of Frenchie because of his being so superstitious. I was walking down the street with my dog, minding my own business, and a huge tree branch broke over my head and hit me. almost killed me and my dog. And Carly says it's because I've done something wrong and nature is coming back to get me. And that seems like something that Frenchie would believe. And so that is my gay pirate story is being attacked by nature.
Andrea, did you forget to feed the thank the fairies?
I did forget to feed. I have not fed the fairies in a while. That's probably part of it.
I meant thank the fairies, but I think I was still thinking of Belle's sourdough starter that you have to feed.
Yeah, and I think both. I haven't thanked or fed them. And then in response, they dropped a tree branch almost on my head, but they missed.
Where did it actually hit a part of your body?
My back.
Oh, no.
Okay, I don't like that. Oh, no. What does that mean?
Okay, what does the back symbolize? It symbolizes turning your back on something, right?
Well.
So I know, right? But I do love the fairy tale that it inspired.
Yes.
It inspired this fairy tale of a princess continuing to get hit by trees for telling a lie. Mm-hmm. But she's really like, well, it's no one's business, you know? And so her having to maybe then go to the fairies and be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what the fuck? Listen, some things are a girl's business. Not everyone has to know everything. Yeah. Trees, fairies, Frenchie, get out of here. Yeah. Anyway.
And if anyone wants to share how this fairy tale can then escalate and then reach a conclusion, let us know. Right?
Happy endings only, please. I'm not looking for no sad endings for my story, please.
Yep, only happy endings.
And as for me, I had a scare with Doug today. And I'll tell you who Doug is. Doug is the name that I've given my sourdough starter. He's a child of COVID. So I made him during COVID when all of us were dead set on learning how to bake and get into fitness and everything. And the problem is I get emotionally attached to things a lot. Doug's my baby.
I mean, it's a living thing.
It's a living thing. In his youth, I would, if I went out of town, I would have my mom babysit. I would go, okay, here's Susie. That's my dog. Here's her food, her treats. And I'd be like, here's Doug. I emailed you how to take care of him for the next 2 weeks. Please don't hurt him. But yeah, I had a bit of a scare. I thought he had some mold in him. I freaked out. Thankfully it was not. It was everything was on the outside of the container. So, but I had a major freak out and I just thought Doug was dead. And
no, Doug. Now is he named after Doug? No last name?
No, he was not. He precedes Doug, but okay. It's because I don't have much of an imagination. So a sourdough started to me. I was like, Doug.
I see.
Yes.
So it's a very good
character named after your sourdough starter, you know?
Exactly.
There you go.
With that madness out of the way, let's talk about Frenchie, my friends. Frenchie. Yes. So what do we know about Frenchie?
He's a musician, very good musician, the bard of the group.
Yes. In fact, he opens the show. The first voice you hear of him, you hear his guitar and you hear his voice. That he's the very first thing you hear in the show.
And he's the last voice of the show because the last little credit, like post-credits clip of episode 8 of season 2 is Frenchie squeezing through the bars and saying, "Go Frenchie." So he's the last voice for now of the show.
For now.
Wow, that's a really good point. He's also a dum-dum. He hammered his sleeve to the deck of the boat.
Hey, let he amongst us who have not hammered something to their clothing.
If you have not hammered your clothes to the deck of your ship, speak now.
And I contend that he is asexual and he is in a queer platonic relationship with Wee John.
That is definitely, a lot of people do take that tack with Frenchie, that he is in fact asexual.
And I love an asexual dum-dum because I am an asexual dum-dum.
We're all represented in the show. It's lovely. So on buttons, Andrea is Ed, Chloe is Steed, I'm myself, and buttons, of course, and then Carly, you are Frenchie. So we all have our representation here. What else do we know about
the whole
him?
crew?
Yeah.
He can sew.
He loves scams.
He loves scams.
Something about him.
Yep, loves a con, definitely.
And he's very good at them.
That is the one thing he is good at, scamming people, but probably just white people because white people are dumb. I don't know if Frenchie would be good at scamming someone who isn't a dumb white.
He did decently in the Republic of Pirates. And these are people who are, fairly savvy, fairly street smart. And he still kind of, managed to get his little con in there. So, but they're also fans, and fans we have a tendency to go a little crazy.
Wait a minute. Wait. What scam did he do with the Republic of Pirates? Why am I...
Certified gentleman pirate planks. Authentic gentleman pirate signatures. Definitely not made by Lucius.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm sorry. For some reason, I was thinking like season 1 because I was still in season 1 mindset. And I was like, wait, what? And then, season 2, Frenchie.
Frenchie's scam in season 2 is what sets it up is one of my favorite exchanges in the show, where they're being celebrated at Jackie's for killing Ned Lowe, and now the crew of the Revenge is really famous and they're getting free drinks, and Frenchie turns to Pete and goes, "This free drink shit's for the birds, right?" And Pete goes, "Birds love drinking for free." And then Frenchie's like, no, I mean, we got to get our grift on. And then that's when they start selling planks from the Revenge and Gentleman Pirate signatures.
We also know a lot about his inner life. So we know he is very good at disassociation. He's the king of disassociation. He can lock things up in boxes. He can bottle it up if you want.
Now, the container, in Frenchie's defense here, the container is actually a very valid and helpful therapeutic technique. However, in order for it to be an effective therapeutic technique, you do need to open the box again. You cannot close the box forever and keep it under your floorboards where its beating heart drives you to madness. That's not how it works. You need to open the box and deal with things when you can. The container is just there to keep things where you don't have to deal with them in the moment, but then when you're ready, you deal with them. So I think Frenchie got like halfway there. With
Wait a minute. This whole thing about opening the box is mind blowing to me. You're supposed to open the box?
You're supposed to open the box.
Why?
So their beating hearts don't drive you to madness under your floorboards.
You don't want to keep a box of terrible things in your home. Eventually, you want to clear them out.
Carly's just staring.
So do you like mentally imagine bringing the box to like the river and dumping it there? Is that like how psychologically it goes? Because I learned that you put it in a box. And now I'm hearing that you're eventually supposed to open the box.
You are supposed to open the box.
That's not good. That's not good. I guess because I did quit therapy. So I guess I only got so far with it.
So in the David Jenkins School of Psychotherapy, don't follow that. You can in fact put things in boxes. Chloe is correct, especially in the place where he was with Blackbeard breathing down their necks and trying actively to kill them all. You put them in a box. But then afterwards, when you have time, when life has handed you some space, you need to open the box, deal with whatever's on the box, clean it up, fold it up, get rid of what doesn't serve you, fix what you can still use, go through all those things.
There is not enough time in a single human lifetime.
The problem is, though, you have to open the boxes because they are not like dimensional bags that you can just put things in. They have finite space. So that's why you need to open the box and like clear the box out so you can put other stuff in the box and then deal with it later. Like you don't have infinite box container space.
So when you have other trauma happen, you have to release one trauma before putting other trauma in the box.
No, you're supposed to release what's in the box when you
don't have more trauma in this lifetime, because then you'll have to open the box. Okay.
Okay. To be fair to Carly, I have done therapy where I put something in a box and send it away, and I'm not supposed to get it back. So Frenchie, and Carly have all done the same thing. Of the box, it's the stuff you don't want, and it goes over there, and you don't. It's gone. Goodbye.
Send it down.
Okay, maybe you do that with things you have no control over. You put them in the box to be locked away forever because you have no control over them. But if you have control over them, you should take them out of the box and address them periodically.
Okay, that's for the birds. Like okay, wait. Pause.
5 minutes ago, I sent my box down the river, so I'm not going to go chasing after it. So bye, box. Cool.
I want to go back to Frenchie being really into cons for a second, because the other thing we know about him, it was that he was in the service. And I think those two are connected. I think spending time being in service and serving probably very self-centered white people helped him learn how to con people.
And also put things in a box.
And also put things in a box and never open the box.
Never having the time to open the box. Yeah, definitely. Definitely as a person of color, they're definitely all the issues, all the traumas, all the things. So no wonder he's got his box technique down. And then if he was able to turn all that knowledge that he's got into con making, then yay, Frenchie. But look, we alluded to earlier, he also believes in fairies. We know that he's a man of science. He lives in fairies. Very superstitious. We know that. Generally afraid of women in boats, mermaids as well. We even know a little
crystals
bit
and demons.
Yeah. We even know a little bit about his medical history. The man is allergic to peanuts.
It's very serious.
It is very serious. There were red spots all over his beautiful body. So
his beautiful body.
That's right. So yeah, we know quite a bit about Frenchie. And what do we think specifically makes him so fascinating? Other than the fact that he's unbelievably beautiful.
He is unbelievably beautiful. Carly, you mentioned the kind of headcanon that a lot of fans have that he's ace. So he has ace rep. What makes you think he's ace?
He never, throughout the entire show, demonstrates any sort of attraction towards anyone. With Wee John, he just wants to be room people, and he's very much about like the room. And and I love that, actually. I love a male character who is just completely non-sexual in any way. And what's interesting though is he appearance wise, he's very attractive. And Joel Fry is so, charismatic.
Dreamy.
Yes, very dreamy. But there exudes a non-sexual thing. Maybe it's Joel Fry. Do we know about Joel Fry's dating history or anything? I don't know. But there is definitely something about the actor and the character that exudes a non-sexualness while being sexy at the same time, which is a balance that is unique to Frenchie.
So I will say, this is true, of the characters in the show, I believe he's really the only one who at no point, well, maybe Wee John as well, but really just shows no interest in anybody, doesn't flirt with anybody, doesn't get into any kind of relationship. And that is very unusual in any kind of sitcom situation, especially if that person happens to be attractive. So it's not, and you said, and a man. So if it's a minor character who happens to be whatever, not pretty or not handsome or whatever, it's fine. They can just be the cute sidekick and they don't have to be involved in anything or show any kind of interest in anything. But if they're attractive, they're hitting on something, they're having a relationship, they're, getting involved in some way. So it's pretty ace. We could infer from that he could very well be ace.
And it doesn't seem like it's something that is a like accidentally, we forgot to give Frenchie a love interest, or we forgot to make Frenchie bad eyes at someone. Well, he does say babe, but again, it's not.
He's also from Bristol, and everybody in Bristol calls everybody lovers and babe, and so that's like me calling everybody babe, which I do and love. And
yeah, but you're the horniest person alive, so also
that's very fair. Polar opposites.
And so I do have to say, like, it seems intentional. It seems like we are intentionally not going to have Frenchie pair up with someone in a sexual way or be a sexual character, even though he is like one of the sexiest actors, which I think is a choice that was consciously made. Because David Jenkins, he doesn't just do things randomly. He put a freaking ice sculpture on a, Caribbean French party ship in the Caribbean. He wouldn't just take Joel Fry and make him not sexy or not sexual for no reason.
Fair enough.
Which makes me
he has
wonder.
Opportunities. There's opportunities. He could definitely use the flirting and his own attractiveness in his cons so easily. He's at the Republic of Pirates. He could be talking to somebody, but again, he's not. So it does seem very intentional.
That's a very good point, especially if you are a beautiful human using your attractiveness to a con is a really effective strategy. And yeah, we don't see him employ that. We certainly see him use charisma, but we don't see him trying to flirt with anybody.
Well, that's the thing about Frenchie, I think, is that he's very intelligent. Like, yes, he is a big dum-dum. Like, that is 100% his vibe. And it's my favorite as well. But he also is very intelligent, and he uses that to con people. He doesn't need to rely on his looks. He could, to everyone's point. But and I think he is so important to the story in so many different places and so many different points of time. So I echo you, Carly, like the idea of taking a character who really moves the plot along a lot, but have him very intentionally not have romantic interest is, I don't really know any other way to interpret it except that he's ace. Like, how else would you even interpret that?
Yeah, the only other thing they could have done is throw in a line. You know, it would have been great to have like a Frenchie, like let's hang a lantern on the fact that Frenchie's ace by having him say something. Who, if you had to sleep with someone on the ship, who would you sleep with? And Frenchie would just be like,
not for me.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I also think that the show thrives in its subtlety, right? Everything is subtle in the show. Everything is up for interpretation. And that also for people who I guess don't or can't see Frenchie that way for whatever reason, they don't have to, because that line doesn't exist, right? But for those of us who think that that's really powerful, it's easy to pull that out of what we're given anyway.
Yeah, but everyone's allowed to just be. They don't have to be identified in any way.
They have to have the speech, you know. It was like, I am gay, or I'm trans now, or, you know, like they don't have to have that moment. And that's one of the things, that I love about the show, that they just go, yep, it's a thing. Move on.
Yep. And it really welcomes everybody into identifying with them.
Absolutely.
But that's not to say that no one ships Frenchie with anyone.
Yeah, that's exactly going to be my point, because, of course, fan fiction, he gets shipped a lot. So who do we ship Frenchie with if we're not going with the ace timeline, if you will?
Well, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I ship in a queer platonic way Frenchie and Buttons starting a cult. And was it Andrea who had that idea originally?
And of course it was. You know how I love cults.
I'm stealing your idea, and I'm saying Frenchie and Buttons starting a cult. That is my ship. That is my highest, OTP ship on the Revenge. I love that idea, and I
think Roach would be in on that cult too, because Roach is also superstitious and connects with Frenchie in those beliefs. So I think he'd be so on board with Buttons and Frenchie's cult.
Yep. He too is a man of science.
Yes, they're all men of science.
All men of science. I've seen that in Fics as well. Of course, John is a big one for Fics. They always get their roommates, their platonic friends, they're together somehow, or their partners. They're in a relationship, so we get a lot of that. And on doing my research for this, of course, I found a lot of Frenchie getting involved with Gentlebeard in some way, shape, or form, either not in a non-romantic way where they're just kind of going, we need a third, and he's like, sure, I'm game, or that's generally what I saw, a lot of that. And then Izzy, of course, but Izzy gets shipped with everybody. When
I was looking for Frenchie fics, by far the most common ship I saw was also with Izzy. And yes, part of that I think is Izzy getting shipped with everybody, but there are some canon moments that I think indicate a connection between Frenchie and Izzy. And it starts with Frenchie kind of assuming the first mate role in the Kraken crew after Izzy is supposedly killed. So I think they kind of have that experience that they can share together of like what it's like being Blackbeard's first mate. And then I think the other like singular, well, actually before that, Frenchie is, cares for Izzy while he's injured and recovering from losing his leg. But then I think the kind of one little moment that really solidifies that ship is that when they're in the brig on Zheng's ship, Izzy is sitting up against the wall on like a barrel or something, and Frenchie is sitting on the floor next to him and resting his head on Izzy's thigh, which is very sweet.
We've also seen the photos, so the backstage photos, the behind the scenes photos, where if you zoom out in the moment when Fang comes up to Izzy and says, you're in an abusive relationship, and he hugs them. And of course, Izzy freaks out, but then starts crying. If you see the zoomed out photos, Frenchie's holding his hand.
They're holding hands. Yeah,
that's right.
Like really grounding him, not like a kind of sweet handhold, but like really firm. Yeah.
So I wish they had shown
it's
that.
very sweet.
That's lovely. Yeah. So we do have some options there.
Are there any fics where Frenchie and Izzy are two aces who find each other? And because we know Izzy, has a relationship with Blackbeard, whatever. But Izzy maybe realizing, I'm happier being ace with my ace Frenchie partner. And I'm putting that as a rhetorical question out to the universe. I think that would be a sweet little story for someone to write.
Again,
I think you should write it, Carly.
Yeah, absolutely do that. Well, because the beautiful thing about the show is because nobody gets a label, everybody gets to place whatever labels they want on. I don't think I've seen fics with every single character at one point or another being interpreted as ace or in the ace spectrum. So either ace or demi. So Steed, Ed, absolutely. John, Frenchie, Izzy, Roach, everybody at some point. So everybody has, in different fics that I've read, and I've read thousands, has been put down as ace or demi. And again, the interpretation can be found there. You could definitely see that, Izzy specifically loving Ed, even with Con saying they got it like rabbits. It maybe it's just for Ed. So it may be a demi situation. So yeah, absolutely. It could be an ace.
We also see some fics of Frenchie shipped with Roach, and I think that is primarily driven by Roach's comment of Frenchie having a beautiful body, which not wrong. And of course, if you've got eyes, yeah. And them bonding over their superstitions and being men of science.
I really like the ace interpretation, so I wouldn't necessarily seek out a pairing for Frenchie in that way, except for a queer platonic. But if I were to do so, I think it would definitely be Roach. I love their dynamic. I love their sort of shared understanding that passes between them in any scenes they have together. It's really beautiful as a friendship or otherwise.
Let's talk about seasons 1, 2, 3 kind of as a progression. And that definitely will have the Captain Frenchie thing in there. So from season 1 to season 2, what do we see change in Frenchie? I mean, you definitely see the more violent side of him coming out, whether it's a choice or not, that remains to be seen. Obviously, he's being forced into it. He's got his box. So we see him dissociate a lot more than the first season. What other changes do we see in Frenchie from season 1 to season 2?
Well, we see that tenderness too, develop in the holding the hand with Izzy and the in the prison cell with Izzy moment, where it's before season 1, just a dum-dum, afraid of cats, can sew a flag, proud of his flag, and scared of Blackbeard. And second season, forced to be violent for Blackbeard, still scared of Blackbeard, doing what he has to do to, being sneaky in a way and keeping Izzy alive. Being sneaky too in season 1 in the conning, right? So developing that thread.
Born for espionage. That kind of sneaky espionage. Too.
Yeah. He goes from being born for espionage failing to being born for espionage and actually doing it.
Yeah, I definitely see Frenchie kind of going through a transition from season 1 to season 2, where his experiences in life and how he has managed to get through life are kind of being realized now. That I think I kind of get the impression of him that he's just kind of been winging it through life and through a lot of season 1. And then when we transition into season 2, we kind of have rubber meeting the road in his life. And he's realizing that he can take his con experience and really kind of channel it into having a more real role, first as first mate in the Kraken crew, and then eventually as captain.
Sorry, I had a huge epiphany while you were talking.
Oh,
because what is the difference between Frenchie season 1, season 2? Like in season 1, he's like goofy. Like, yes, we see him do very smart things, his cons, his scams, but he's also a complete goofball, right? He messes things up. He is, doing dumb things. But who is the person who identifies for him that he could be better? It's not himself. It's Blackbeard. Blackbeard is the one who says at the end of season 1, I want you on my crew. Those other idiots, I'm marooning them, but you're going to stay here with me. I didn't realize that until you were saying that, and obviously it was a very dark time, right? That Kraken era was not good. I'm not saying that was good development for him, but it's very interesting that the person who puts him on that path is not himself, because he probably would have just gone with everybody else and been on the island and ended up with Steed. Like, he's just going with the flow. But Blackbeard was the one who looked at him and said, I think that you have potential and you are going to stay here and become a real pirate. And
was it because Blackbeard saw his conning on the party ship?
Probably. Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know if Ed really witnessed much of that.
This is true. But
yeah, he was busy being the life of the party until he wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But he's also a goal. He's the kind of person that I think won't do things himself. But the moment somebody goes, hey, you want to go do this? He's like, yeah. It's a fun thing for somebody who's often bored, like Ed is, for somebody who's just going to call along to whatever he wants to do at a moment's notice. That would be a good thing.
Yeah, and Blackbeard even says to him in season 2, when he's the Kraken, I expect great things from you, when he appoints him as first mate. And yeah, I really do think that Frenchie kind of self-actualizes in some ways in season 2, and that culminates with him being captain, which I really want to see more of. And if it is an appropriate time, I will go on my spiel of why I think Frenchie should be captain.
Yes, tell us why you're wrong, because Zhang is clearly the superior captain. And why are you choosing an incompetent man over a qualified woman?
So, yes, Zhang is more competent and qualified to be captain. No arguments there. But it is also shitty for the most responsibility and the most weight to be put on a woman, or to be put on someone disadvantaged, and to always expect that of them, even though they are the most competent.
And a woman who just went through trauma, right? She just lost her entire crew, her everything.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Well, yeah, I really, of course we do, because we're the same person, kind of, except you're Ed and I'm Steed. But I truly believe that Zhang, she's grieving. She's thinking about how she wants to regroup and how she wants to move forward. And she wants to be able to spend time with Olu. And you see the two of them kind of sitting together and holding on to each other in the last shot of the crew. I don't think she wants to be captain right now. Yes, I do think she would be more competent and capable, but I also think it would have been unfair of her to say you are the most competent and capable, therefore you need to be the one to do this, and we are going to put this all on your shoulders, even though you are going through so much right now. So I think she has a very well-deserved break from being the one who has to do everything. But that doesn't mean she's not capable.
Okay, I'm okay with this. If she does in season 3 voice, she has to actually say the words, I do not want to be captain right now. Because if not, if we're just deciding that she doesn't want to, because she's been under so much emotional pressure, whereas a man could go through whatever killing.
It's because men are stupid. And I expect nothing. Listen, the fact that any of these men on this show even understand what one emotion is well, it's why it's TV and not real life. So I think it's a more than fair interpretation that as an emotionally intelligent woman, that she would, we would expect her to have feelings about And we saw, her whole arc, right, was that it had been too much hardness in her life, not enough softness. She's just literally just in like the last episode learning to let that softness in. And so is Auntie, right?
Yes, Belle.
This is where we go into, I think people interpret it based on their own experiences and on their own, the way that they are. So in the Fang episode, Kelly, I believe, said Fang could be captain. He probably was for a time and then maybe gave it up, right? And that one shocked me. I was like, I would have never thought that Fang could be captain or would be captain. Not saying that he's not intelligent, that he's not good, that he's not capable. It just seems like something he would never in a million years want to do. And of course, David Fandon confirmed that. But it's the same thing with Frenchie. So I think he is very intelligent. And I think he's the kind of person that when you have a stressor on him, like he has to literally survive Blackbeard and his moods and the Kraken and the craziness, he can absolutely step up to the plate. But I don't think that's where he wants to live. And I think for some people, especially if your interpretation of good things are being in charge and like getting ahead in the world and advancing your career, if that's your interpretation of success, then absolutely. He could absolutely 100% do it. He strikes me as a kind of person, just from how lackadaisical he is, how very relaxed he is, how very chill he is. He strikes me like the kind of person who's like, I'll do it if I have to, if somebody like volunteers me, but I will not enjoy it. I do not want to do it. I don't want to be that person. Even when he goes into the con in season 1, he could, when they say, and you are, he could say, I am Prince, and this is my viceroy. But instead, he knows it's easier to do the con from the bottom. So he says, this is the prince. I'm his viceroy. So I think he does not like to be in charge. He does not like to have the spotlight on him. And we do see absolutely John needs to recover. We see that in a very compressed timeline during the last episode, because when the English first find them, John is literally like, kill me. I don't care. I just lost my entire...
Yeah, she's ready to give up.
She's done. And then something sparks in her and she goes, revenge. I'm going to live long enough to kill as many of them as I can, right? And then, of course, after Izzy's funeral, she goes up to Ed Anstead, because he's standing next to him, and goes, let's do this. Come with me. We're going to do this. We're going to find Ricky. And so I think she's got the drive. Yes, she's exhausted. Yes, she's emotionally extremely damaged. But the way that she's dealing with it is, we're going to make this as right as possible. I'm going to get this dude and I'm going to fucking destroy him. So I don't see her going, I'm going to take a break for a minute whilst I process this. I think she's quote unquote done her processing. I think the softness in her life is the polycule. So I think that's how she's getting it. So definitely, I don't see Auntie letting her.
Okay.
Even though she's softening.
But I agree with you. I agree with what you're saying. However, what that means is, all of that is true. All of that is completely in line with the characters that we've seen. I agree. Frenchie probably wouldn't volunteer to be captain, and Zhang probably would. However, that's not how it happens in the end, right? So we must therefore, because we trust our writers to know the characters, we must therefore interpret some conversation happened somewhere where they all agreed to this.
Here's the thing. So that's why I was so surprised when the first time I heard, and it was like a month ago or something, the first time that I heard somebody say, Captain Frenchie, I went, I'm sorry, where did that come from? Because when he says, okay, everybody, let's get ready, or like, let's take off or whatever, that is not the job of the captain. The captain does not give direct orders to the crew. It's usually the second mate or the first mate or the boatswain who does that. So the fact that he's like, okay, everybody, let's pull off, actually to me is an actual indication that he's not the captain.
And so it's only because DJ in his fan fiction called him the captain that sort of became. But again, we can't trust DJ on his own. We love him. Can't trust him on his own. He needs a writer's room.
He does. And go ahead.
He has also said in an interview that Frenchie is captain. It wasn't just in his fanfic. But so, okay. I feel like I'm going to go off. Let me go back to Zhang. I'll start with Zhang. I don't think she's just like taking a break and sitting back and processing. I still think she's a very active part of the running of the ship and the plan to find Ricky. I am under no delusions that she's just like, I'm going to rest and recover, and like Frenchie's totally going to run the ship. I'm sure she's suggesting things and Frenchie's like, great, we'll do it. However, I think Zhang realizes that she can lead as part of a community and accept the support of a community and not have to be the one taking charge of absolutely everything, and someone else can take charge of some of the things like the running of the ship. As far as then like Frenchie kind of giving orders, for me personally, that really doesn't mean much to me, because this is the revenge we're talking about. Like they're not going to run like a Navy ship that's very hierarchical and structured like that. And I think at some point we see Blackbeard, when he's the Kraken, I tend to call him Blackbeard, like give some kind of direction to the Kraken crew early in season 2, but I might be wrong about that. But at least for me, that's just like not terribly convincing, because the revenge doesn't do anything the normal way. And yeah, I'm still going to go off, but I'm going to pause periodically in my going off so I don't monologue.
I mean, you still see that even with the revenge doing things their own way, you still have Buttons calling everybody to order before Steed comes in and talks to them. You still have that just it's just the general running of ships. And I'm not saying it's hierarchical, because he does talk to them and they talk to each other. It's not like they don't talk to me. You need to talk to me through the first mate. But when it comes to calling things out, you have to have that order. Otherwise, everybody could be calling out different things. So I'm still on that, but I'm also like into sailing. So like, you know, I've gone through that. So that's why when I saw that, there was not a second in my mind that thought, oh, that means that Frenchie is the captain. In fact, if anything, I was like, oh, Frenchie stayed as the first mate. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's cool. That's what made me think of. And I mean, other than DJ's thing, and again, I don't think his stuff should be taken as confirmation, because he is obviously forgotten, like we all would have if this was a project that we had worked on 3 years ago, rather than something that we're passionate about and that we've watched 87 times and all that. So either, you know, he's heard the talk online, which we know he does because he confirms other nice things and does all kinds of things, or he goes off of other things. For example, he also talked about Jim and Izzy's like sexual tension, of which there is absolutely in the show itself, there's zero. Now, Vico and Khan, absolutely, they could set something on fire. But they have all of maybe 2 interactions total in like the whole show. Izzy and Jim, they cut off his leg. Yes, they say he's our asshole. That's about the extent of it. They don't ever talk to each other. They don't. So I don't know where that sexual tension came from. So
yeah, I've never heard that. That's funny, because
from us.
I do think they have fairly significant interactions. They are limited, but they are significant when they happen. But it always, I mean, and as we know, I'm the last one to pick up on sexual tension, so maybe that's part of the problem. But it always came off as very like, yeah, mentor-mentee to me in their relationship on the show.
I need to go through and rewatch it just looking at those 2, because again, I can't off the top of my head think of any time where they interact. Season 2, none in season 1, but I think their season 2 interactions are again limited but significant, but not to me, not very sexy. So that to prove only that Jay's words, whilst again you could always take them, because I do the same thing whenever a cast member or a crew or a writer says something that I like. I'm like, yep, that's my story now. In fact, Khan has stopped saying anything. He goes, every time I say something, you people take it and run with it. So I'm going to stop saying things. But yeah, so in my head, he would neither want to be, no, is there any actual indication to show that he is? Could he? Yes. Would he want to? No.
So I agree with that, but I think I don't think he'd want to be captain in any other context other than the revenge.
That's fair.
I think it's the familiarity and found family dynamic of the revenge at this point that would make him feel comfortable with it. And I don't think they had that dynamic at the very beginning. And then when we see, buttons on your feet for your captain, it's a much more kind of like what you expect hierarchical dynamic in the ship. And I don't think Frenchie would have wanted to be a leader in that case. But by the end of season 2, with just how much this crew has gone through together and how comfortable they are with each other, it just intuits for some reason to me for Frenchie to be okay with being captain. And how I see that for him is kind of like I was mentioning earlier, kind of a self-actualization of other skills and ways of being that he's already employed in his life, but in the role of captain in this particular context of the revenge, he kind of finds this position that suits him and where he can do some good. And I think that he has a really good temperament to be captain because, as we mentioned before, there's a tenderness to him and a kindness to him, not only in the way that he takes care of Izzy, but we also see in season 1, even when he does run this con, he gives all of the money to the servants. He doesn't take it. Yes.
Olu does that. Olu does that, not Frenchie. So
I think it was...
Frenchie goes, "Where's my money?" And Olu goes, "I reinvested it wisely."
Oh, I thought it was the other way around.
Nope.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right.
It was.
I stand corrected.
But Frenchie didn't get upset about it,
Oh, no, absolutely. No, I think he definitely agree with that. And again, he's the one that's like, let's make money off of all these fans. So it's not that I don't think that he is tender and that he cares about people. I just think that, and again, it comes from my own like horror of leadership, where I think Frenchie wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. First mate, fine. You want to keep me as first mate? I will help in that capacity. Captain, no, thank you. I will help, but I won't.
I'm really sorry to say, I think Belle's pulling me to their side. I think Belle's pulling me to their side because Frenchie is someone that I see as like, he is caring, but he can turn it on and off. It is not something that he just naturally is like, oh, I'm a super, like my instinct is to walk into a room and make people feel welcome. That's not Frenchie, right? Frenchie will do that if he cares about you, if he's gotten to know you, if you're someone close and special to him, but that's not his instinct. And I think obviously everyone on the Revenge, we could argue he does feel that way about them, but I think it takes a lot of energy out of him. And I think he is a good first mate because he can do some of those things, but also ultimately the weight is not on him.
That also makes sense to me. And I do stand corrected on the earnings. But the other reason I think he is a good temperament for captain is that he is really actually pretty good with people and has a good intuition for people. And of course, we see this with the cons. But I also think we see it in just kind of how he interacts with Ed when Ed is captain, kind of how he reads the room and kind of tries to talk his way out of or into things when he needs to. And I think he has like a kind of ability to be calm, perhaps because of the box, and not take things too like seriously or intensely. And I think that helps in a leadership role where he can kind of like not be too swept up in it or get too like deep in it. So I think he's just in this role as captain, he's able to take his people skills and his worldliness and use it to lead the ship in this comfortable environment, probably with lots of help and collaboration with Chang. Like I don't think he's doing this making all the decisions on his own or anything like that. Yeah,
so basically it boils down to what you think the captain does, and I think the captain, but also Jean is also very emotionally intelligent, so they both are. But whether you think the captain does the main planning and the first mate does the people managing, or vice versa, or if the captain does it all. I think what it really boils down to is we all want to see Frenchie happy and fulfilled in whatever that is, and just our interpretations of what that would look like for him vary. We all, in season 3, we all want him happy, whether we want him to be happy as captain or happy as first mate. We just want him happy.
Now, as far as what that question of what you think a captain does, I think if you are thinking of a more traditional captain like Ed or Cheng, that I don't see Frenchie in as much. But when you think of Steed as a captain, like, he's not making great plans.
Yeah.
Like, the English come and ambush them in season 1 and fire a warning shot. And he's like, oh, we should probably fire back. And everyone looks at him like, are you crazy? So the kind of Steed captaining I see Frenchie in, and that is a kind of captaining that is not commanding over people, but creating a space, a safe spaceship for people to lean into their own strengths and become the best versions of themselves. And I think that is the kind of captain I see Frenchie as, a Steed kind of captain, not an Ed or Zheng type captain.
That's fair. We also have forgotten one thing, which is if we go for the more historical what we know historically of pirates, the little we do, is that unlike all other types of structures in society at that time, they were quite democratic. So you got voted into being a captain.
Yeah. I just see the crew of the Revenge and the storyline of our flag moving away from that kind of traditional captaincy of Blackbeard and Zhang and moving towards the more democratic, supportive family captain style of Steed. And that's why it makes sense for me for Frenchie to be a captain.
Fair enough. But I think Jean also has that, I want to make you feel comfortable. And I don't think I think Kraken Ed does the whole, everybody's going to do exactly what I say, but I think everybody else, and the show makes it very clear that that's wrong. But pre-Kraken Ed, Jean, obviously Steed, it's got that kind of true parity interpretation of we're all in this together. I was voted into. In the case of Steed, he just had the money. But then when he goes back with no money, then it does turn into more like, yeah, the whole crew goes, yes, you're our captain. So we're kind of doing this by consensus. So we could spend another hour breaking down how each person on that ship would vote. If they would vote for Jean or would vote for Frenchie. And we could take that into a different.
That's going to be episode 2. Is just we go through every single person and decide if they would vote Frenchie.
Yes, I love that. We'll definitely do that. But so that being all of that being said, is there something specific that we like to see Frenchie do in fics other than?
I haven't seen fics of this, but what I would love to see in fics is more of his backstory. I think there's just a ton of potential there. Like, what was his life in the service? And we also know that he has seen a lot of the world, because when in season 1, when Lucius is like, we're all going to die because it's September the 1st and not September the 2nd, Lucius is like, I never got to see the world. And Frenchie just goes, it's just rocky and flat and rocky and flat. And he says this was kind of like nonchalant. So, but he's seen the world. He's unimpressed by it. So what is his story? I just think there's a lot of potential for exploration.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, I love a fic where Frenchie is conning somebody in somewhere, and which I've seen a lot. Yeah. Very everything from little cons to like Ocean 11 type big con. So anything that shows that part of him is fantastic.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think for me, because I'm such a gentle beard, like that's all I want to read if I want. That's what I want to read. When I'm reading fics about other characters, and I'm looking for like a fun plot. And for Frenchie especially, as someone that like I don't need to see him in a pairing, I love to see him use his little weird brain to do scams and cons, while also, making sure that he's not stepping on cracks, making sure that his cons go well because he thanked the fairies. Maybe he has some special, crystals he brought with him to make the con go well. Love to see those things flow together.
I don't know, just more Frenchie psychology. He's think he's such
that's
a
true.
fascinating person.
If somebody hasn't written Frenchie as a psychiatrist, please do that. That would
Oh
be
my God,
hysterical.
that would be hysterical.
Do that, please. This fandom is so creative. So any of that, fun stuff to see. And we touched briefly on Joel Fry himself. Joel Fry, the cryptid of the cast. Nobody has ever seen him. Fun side story. When I went to the first London con, I had tickets to go see the Duchess, and Joel Fry was in it. I was very excited. And I'm waiting for him to come out. I'm waiting. The second act starts, and the children that are in the play are dark-skinned, and both the main character and the character that she gets with are super white. And I go, wait, so Joel was supposed to play the love interest, and he had to send, and his understudy was there instead. So that's why they were super white and the kids were brown. I was like, I wanted to see Joel Fry on stage. I knew I was never going to get to see him at the stage door, but at least I wanted to see him on stage, but didn't get to see him.
That's so sad.
Have we seen much of Joel Fry? I've seen a bit. I saw Plebes, and then stopped watching as soon as he was no longer in it. I saw Game of Thrones. I'm still working on watching Ordinary Lies when he was in it with Khan. I think he's a pretty damn good actor, and I think he's very versatile, and he could be doing anything. Like with everything, I always want to see people in dark roles. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I would like to see something where he's a serial murderer. Or
I think he'd be good at that.
You know what
I put in answer
was a scary movie about the Queen Mary.
No way.
Yes. So in that way, we're like best friends, you know?
Was it filmed on the Queen Mary?
So.
That's too bad.
Yeah, I doubt he even got close to Long Beach. However, the point remains. I would like to see Joel Fry do anything. I think, you know, I'm not picky. He's pretty. Put him on my screen. He's really funny. He's got really good comedic timing. You know, I do like the idea of comedic actor in a serious role, blah, blah, blah. But like, he's just really funny. Let him be funny. I love him. I love him being funny.
Yeah, he's very funny.
The answer I put for this was that I want to see Joel Fry signing my flag. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think I might be more likely to get Taika to sign my flag than Joel Fry.
See Joel Fry. That's it. I just want to see him.
Yes, I just want to lay eyes on him.
I want to capture a blurry image
in the wild.
Watching the show.
She's not a...
Yeah.
Yes, and then put it online, and people will debate if it's actually Joel Fry or if it was like a hoax. Or what?
Someone in a Joel Fry suit.
Yes.
All right, everyone. I think that closes out for this one. We have managed to keep it fairly tight, which is unusual for us.
Only because I'm trying not to say all of my thoughts in support of Captain Frenchie. I'm trying not to totally go off.
Definitely do Frenchie to the captain debate and just spend the whole time.
Yeah, episode 2 is Captain or not to Captain. That's going to be the title.
There you go.
And I have not been swayed. I am still strongly in my pro Captain Frenchie camp, because, you know, in season 1, they say when they elect Olu to be captain, they say the best people to be captain are the people who wouldn't want it.
Oh, so damn. You got you there, Mel.
Oh, no. I absolutely agree with that. Do I think that he would be happy being captain? No. Do I think that everybody would have elected to be captain? No. So it's not that I don't think that he's very good and that he would be amazing and that he would thrive under pressure. I just don't think he'd want to. So that's my whole point. So yeah,
I'm just being pulled between you two. Like a rag doll.
I'm gonna win Andrea back.
All right,
to the pro Frenchie camp. I don't know if you were ever like solidly with me to begin with, but
I mean, I hadn't thought that hard about it. But I was like, yeah, he's captain, and now, so you know, I'm a swing voter. I'm a purple state.
There we go.
We
could
okay.
also
we're gonna invest a lot of campaign dollars in you. We need to.
We can do a survey of the socials. Your name, Frenchie, the captain, and then give us your whys so that we can get somebody else's opinions on things.
Yeah, but, and then we'll discuss on captain or no captain.
Yeah, I love it. My friends. So, Fic Recs. What have we seen? I did see that Frenchie Week was a thing, which I love. I love it when some of the smaller characters get their chance. And so I saw quite a few things written for Frenchie Week. More Frenchie, please.
More Frenchie. Go Frenchie.
Oh, go Frenchie. What are your Fic Recs? Chloe, let's start with you.
I found one called 1 Month in an Eventually Much Less Leaky Boat by Zuckerbaby_1. And this is not an exclusively Frenchie-centric, but it's a fic that takes the time around like episode 4, 5, maybe leading into the beginning of 6 of season 2, where the whole crew is just kind of dealing with their shit on the Revenge and processing like what happened, kind of coming back together, which was really the vibe of the Curse of the Seafaring Life episode, which is one of the reasons it's my favorite episode, because it's just the crew doing crew things. It's not as plot driven. It's not as like external character influence. It's just kind of the crew doing their thing. And in this fic, they're all kind of like working through their traumas and what they've been through up until this point. And so it spends time with everybody, but it does spend a decent amount of time with Frenchie. And this is leads into a Frenchie-Izzy relationship. So I like that one for a lot of reasons. And then another one I found that I think speaks to kind of my take on Frenchie as being like pretty good with people is one called My Good Friend Frenchie by Fishforjay. And this is a kind of alternate take on the end of season 1, where instead of Izzy going to talk to Ed after Ed gets back to the ship and Izzy kind of like tipping him into the Kraken, Frenchie goes and talks to Ed, and Frenchie helps Ed build the blanket fort. One of the tags for this fic is graphic depictions of blanket fort building. So Frenchie helps Ed build the blanket fort and kind of talks it through. And it's kind of like, what would have happened if Ed had like emotional support in that moment? And it comes in the form of Frenchie. So it's just kind of sweet and then very go Frenchie.
Oh, I love it. Good. Andrea, do you have any recs?
I have one. It's a little short. It's 1,500 words, a little guy. And it's called The Songbird Who Refuses to Sing by Leave Me Alone. Leave spelled with 2 E's. 3 E's, because the one at the end. And it's just it's a story about Frenchie having some PTSD and Roach working him through it and just talking with him and being there for him. Don't read it if you're like, oh, I'm in a really good mood today and I just want to stay happy. Like, it's not quite that story. I mean, it's sweet, but it is emotional, for 1,500 words. But I really, really enjoyed it. So I'll recommend that one. And it's just Frenchie and Roach, which is nice.
Does Frenchie open the box?
Frenchie is like mid-battle and kind of freezes up.
Okay.
So the box is, I think, forced open at that point.
Explodes.
Okay.
So it's in his face.
This is why you have to deal with the shit in the box, because otherwise it's going to blow open in your face.
Exactly. Whenever you're least expected. Excellent. Well, as I was looking for fics, and as you know, I'm always looking for explicit fics. I did see a lot of darkness. Like a lot of the ones were very like unhappy ending, a lot of like cheating and stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm not in that headspace right now. I did find a Cat People by Eevla, Eevla. And that one is basically just porn with like the tiniest bit of plot where, Frenchie and Wee John move into this duplex, and the landowner / the people that live on the other side of the duplex are Steed and Ed and Steed are just freaks in the best way, in my kind of way. And Frenchie gets pulled into that real quick. So it's Frenchie in a gentleman context. Yeah. And then this one I'm currently reading, so I'm not done, but it's by Draco the Lizard, and Draco does amazing stuff. So I will go ahead and wreck it, even though I haven't read it the whole way through. And all the filth is at the end. So I'm reading 13 chapters to get to some filth, just so you know.
It must be pretty good.
But it's basically, it's a con type, but in space. So Frenchie and Roach, our favorite pairing. In space, they find a stowaway. It's Izzy. They're on the way to Jackie's bar planet. Yeah. So an interesting interpretation, and it seems like it's fun so far. We'll see what happens, but check that out. It's called Changing Course by Draco the Lizard.
You know what? We do need to do a Frenchie part 2 episode probably, because we didn't even talk about why he's called Frenchie.
This is true. We didn't touch on that. And there is zero indication in the show. Absolutely zero.
We could have so many theories. Damn.
I did read that really funny fic where they do it. It's another very spicy one, but where the Swede is actually French, but he couldn't be Frenchie because it was already a Frenchie. So he went by the Swede. So but yeah, lots of fun.
Just chaos.
Yeah, just absolute chaos. All right, my friends. So as we wrap this one up and get ready for part 2, what are you working on? What are you looking forward to? What are you up to?
I am trying to, I want to write an essay about some of my experiences on my Aotearoa trip last June. So I'm working on that slowly but surely. I write about a sentence a week. So one day I am gay and woke on Blue Sky, and that's me.
I am on Blue Sky at Pajarito Botones. And if you have theories on Frenchie's name, tell me so I can repeat them on the podcast and give you credit and not steal them and say they're my ideas. They're still your ideas.
Always ask for help. I love that. For me, I am still slogging through my latest podfic, Late Blooms. Finally posted chapter 5 yesterday. So all the people that were looking forward to that, yay. There's a couple of other fics that I'm thinking of doing that came out of the non-English fics episode. So I may start doing some in other languages or partly in other languages. So looking forward to that. And I am in the metas. I am Bella Saltenbank. In everything else, I'm Perilous and Wicked. Do come and scream to me if you want to. And speaking of screaming, if you have any thoughts, ideas, if you have ideas for episodes, if you want to be involved, if you want to tell us how fantastic of a job we're doing, contact us in all the socials. Our flag means fan fiction. Or if you want to tell us that we suck, you can do that too. But we will make fun of you, just so you know.
Or if you want to tell us your opinions on Captain Frenchie.
Yes, if you want to definitely Captain Frenchie yes or Captain Frenchie no, we can hashtag those. Let us know. Mm-hmm. If you have anything else, you can also send us podfics if you want them included in the show. Write to us at ourflagmeansfanfiction@gmail.com. We are on all the places where you can get your podcasts. Leave us a review. Let people know that people are still interested in Our Flag Means Death. And I think that will be it. So until next time, my dears, do creations, be cringe, and commit crimes, especially if they're cons.
Commit scams.
Oh yeah, scam rich people.